What if I told you that there is a country with more wildlife than people? A place where you can drive for hours without passing a single car, where the silence feels endless and the landscapes seem untouched. Welcome to Namibia, the second emptiest country in the world. Namibia, the world's oldest desert, turns its dunes into waves of red sand, and ancient sun-bleached trees stand frozen in time. The Atlantic Ocean collides with the desert in the most majestic way before stretching further north, where tens of thousands of seals blanket the shore. Along the way, we will sleep in some of the most extraordinary places, from remote lodges with views in every direction to hidden campsites surrounded by nothing but nature. We will also meet the local and indigenous people of Namibia, those whose traditions have passed down for centuries and still hold a sense of timelessness. We will self-drive on safaris through the plains of Etosha, where elephants, giraffes and lions gather around waterholes, and venture deep into private reserves where leopards move silently through the bush. Namibia is a journey that lingers long after the dust has settled, the kind that changes the way you see the world, and you and I are about to see why. For our road trip in Namibia, we need one thing, and that is a car. So after arriving at the airport, we are heading straight to our local car rental company. Seeing our car in front of me, I am honestly exploding with excitement internally. This is not just a car, it is kind of the central part of all our Namibia adventures to come. Next, we are introduced to everything we must know about the car, the equipment, how to operate a gas balloon, the fridge, yes, we have a fridge, and the tent on top of the car, which will partially be our bed on this journey. There are a lot of first times on this journey, and this one is a big one. Before we can fully head out, we are stopping in a supermarket for must-needed grocery shopping that will supply us for the next couple of days. And with a car full of gas, food and excitement, it is time to hit the road. For now, in Windhoek, it is smooth asphalt below the tires, but not for too long. The road will quickly change to gravel, and the moment of transition is exactly here. The tire pressure has to be reduced once you hit gravel road, just as we were taught. And wow, simply wow. Literally within less than half an hour from the car pickup, we are on exactly those wide, remote, what feels like never-ending roads that we have seen online before. The first glimpse of them in real life is as surreal as it can be. There is absolutely nothing around us for miles over miles, completely ours to explore. And with the first longer experience of driving on gravel roads that we are just getting used to and getting a first glimpse of, the first destination is already on the horizon, and we are heading there now. We have arrived in our first town or village that was planned on our itinerary, which is Solitaire. And here you can get, first of all, gas. Very good stop on your way to Sossusvlei. Always I would recommend, whenever you have the opportunity to get gas, do it, because you don't know when the next one is going to come. And secondly, this place is actually famous for its apple pie. In fact, I read that it's supposed to be the best apple pie in all of Namibia, so of course I'm going to give it a try. Before we even taste the pie, pause to take in the town's beauty. Vintage cars left to rust like roadside sculptures, greenery reclaiming its space, and sprawling cactus garden that feels more like a desert gallery. Definitely not your typical village. Okay, back to the famous pie.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Oh, good.
We get 2 of the apple pie cakes, please. So what made you so special or so famous?
The famous apple pie is famous worldwide.
Yeah.
Made by Mr. Rita. He's the founder of the bakery as well. Unfortunately, he passed on in 2014. So we are just continuing his legacy.
First try. Look at that. Looks very yummy. huge.
It's warm.
Thank you very much, it was really good. This stop was great. We have a full tank again, our bellies are full with apple pie, but now it's really time to get to Sossusvlei before the sun sets and before it gets dark. So, let's go! Since this was just a stop along the way, it is time to head on so that we arrive to our final destination before sunset. Arriving to places before sunset is a crucial part of the Namibia journey and part of your car rental agreement.
In 200 meters, you will arrive at your destination.
Well, welcome to our destination for the night, Sossusvlei Lodge. You know a hotel is a special one when the hot towels and the welcome drinks are out. And after a quick hotel introduction, it's time to settle in for the night. The sand here is already red. Like, I've heard so much about this red sand and I cannot wait to go to the dunes tomorrow, but seeing it here already makes me just so much more excited. And look at our hotel room, just basically this little building here. And that's all the other ones next to us. Our lodge for the night is super cute, and what I love about it the most is that it has these windows all around it, giving us the opportunity to see the view straight from the room, from the beds, and it gives you these totally deserty, cozy vibes. The room itself is quite compact. You have a nice big bed, a little sofa area, and the optimization is really on the windows and looking out of them. And then you have also a nice big bathroom over here. The colors are kept kind of brownish, cozy-ish, and it makes it even nicer. This hotel isn't just a convenient starting point for Sossusvlei the next morning. It's part of what makes road tripping through Namibia so unique. Accommodation here isn't just about getting from A to B and just sleeping in a bed. Many places, like this one, are thoughtfully built into the landscape, offering not just a place to rest, but a way to really feel connected to the surroundings. It turns each stop into a full experience. And as night falls and the few lights around us flicker on, the sense of remoteness really settles in. There is no noise, no distant glow on the horizon, just open space and silence. It feels untouched, almost otherworldly. Conveniently, dinner is served in the hotel as well, and there are so many options, as well as freshly cooked meat and stir fries straight in front of you. Everything is fresh and delicious, with a huge variety to choose from. And of course, they also thought about a stargazing opportunity for after dinner, with a cozy fireplace and some chairs right in front of it. It is the next morning, and we are up early, because we have to arrive to our next destination by sunset. So the earlier we head out, the more we have of the day. Now we are heading deeper into Sossusvlei. Now our initial intention was to get to Sossusvlei by sunrise, because this is the best time to see the change of colors and the beauty of the dunes in the morning. But there are two gates that you need to pass in order to get to Sossusvlei. An inner gate which opens 1 hour before sunrise, and an outer gate which opens at sunrise. And the outer gate is located 60 kilometers away from the inner gate. So there's actually no way you can get there for sunrise unless you stay in the inner gate or in very close distance to it. And the hotel we stayed at was the closest we could possibly get to the outer gates of Sossusvlei. We are driving on the 4x4 mode. Oh my lord! It's like survival mode. We cannot get stuck in this sand. It's like Mission Impossible. Look how much it's shaking. The key is to not stop in the sand. Otherwise, you get stuck. But if you do not have a 4x4, if you don't feel comfortable to drive, there is actually a pre-section where you can park the car and then take a shuttle from there. It's a paid service, but it's possible if you do not want to get stuck in the sand. And then, almost without warning, we are completely surrounded by towering dunes, deep red sand, and the sheer scale of it all. The landscape opened up in every direction. quiet and endless. It's really quite a sight that I haven't seen before. But the dunes are just the beginning. We are on our way to Deadvlei, a place that feels like it belongs on another planet. The path winds through shifting sand and rising heat, and just when you think you've seen it all, the landscape changes again. We park the car as close as we can get to Deadvlei, and then it's a little bit of a walk through the sand. It's the first time I'm walking through dunes like this for a longer time, and honestly it's not that easy as it looks like to walk on deep sand. But eventually we are getting there and we are seeing Deadvlei in the distance. Deadvlei is one of the most iconic spots in Namibia, and once you see it, it's easy to understand why. I can't believe we are here. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Wow. The word Deadvlei actually means dead valley. It's dried up clay pan, once fed by a river that no longer flows, now surrounded by some of the tallest dunes in the world. Scattered across the cracked white earth are ancient camelthorn trees, long dead but still standing. They've been scorched black by the sun and preserved by the dry air for over 600 years. The contrast between the white pan, the red dunes, the black trees and the blue sky, it's unlike anything else I've seen before. It's a photographer's heaven. To be honest, Deadvlei isn't just a stop along the way. It's something that stays with you through the rest of your Namibia journey and long after you've left. The image of this place lingers. It's kind of the sight that settles in your memory and never really leaves. And regardless of where you go, you will always remember exactly Deadvlei and that unique sight that you just can't find anywhere else just like that. In Sossusvlei, one of the main things that people also do is climb one of the dunes. And as we stand here in the Deadvlei, we can see the silhouettes and the shadows of people climbing it. And I have all the respect for it because the views from there must be spectacular, but at the same time, it is hot. And walking on the dunes is not easy at all. Even when you walk towards the Deadvlei, you will start feeling it because you walk over the sand and you see how you take one step and you go basically 2 steps back. So it is quite difficult, and climbing this thing is going to take you hours, but the view, I have no doubt, must be spectacular. And as I was Googling this place, I kind of wondered, what is the Big Daddy that everyone is talking about? There's the Big Daddy, which is the highest one. Guys, if you're here, you will know exactly which one is the Big Daddy. It is massive. It is that one in the back. Look at that. That's huge. I decided to take an easier path down, run this thing. It's so fun, but you have to control yourself to not fall face down, to be honest. On the very top, it's quite soft sand. I guess more people are walking there, so it's more like massage sand. But then the more you go down, it feels like asphalt. And it's actually very hard to step on it. Like here, it's like, it doesn't really go down, right? So try running on this. Also, standing in the middle of Deadvlei, it hits you. You are surrounded by the Namib Desert, the oldest desert in the world. It's been dry for over 55 million years. At least that's what people think. It can also be longer than that. Shaped by wind, shifting sands and time. Some areas go years without a single drop of rain. The dunes here can reach up to 300 meters high, constantly reshaped by the wind, yet the landscape feels frozen in time. It's a place that seems untouched, vast, silent and completely still. We came back from the desert and luckily we have a full bag of shopping that we did on the first day in Windhoek. So now we're gonna find a nice little bench here under a tree and have some quick lunch before we continue the road. We have everything we need for a lunch in the desert. plates, cups, cutlery, and even wine glasses. And a stove as well, which we're gonna use a little later. So many.
Really small.
Oh wow, look how many are bubbles. He tried his luck. There were quite a few of them trying to grab something, so the lunch was over faster and it was time to face the drive through the deep sand again. Further along the road, we spotted our first gemsbok, just wandering through the landscape completely at ease, as if we weren't even there. It wasn't a dramatic moment, but something about its calm presence made it feel real. The quiet encounter was the first time it truly felt like we were in the heart of the African wilderness of Namibia. On our way back from Sossusvlei to the hotel, we stopped at Dune 45, which has not only a dedicated parking space and a little sign so there's no way you can miss it, but also this dune right behind me, which is way more climbable. I saw people walking up that thing in 10 minutes as if it's nothing. So if you want to have that climbing experience in the red dune sand and the blue sky behind you, this one is one to come to. And also they have these picnic tables, so a perfect spot for your afternoon coffee. Our next stop for the day is something truly special. It's a hotel, but not just any hotel. Normally, I'm not the type to rush to check in early. I'd rather stretch the day out at the sites, make the most of every stop. But this place was different. For once, I actually wished we had arrived earlier. About to go up now to the hotel, which is away from the main reception, and this car's gonna bring us there. To be honest, I didn't fully know what I'd signed up for when we booked this hotel, but I love a surprise. It all started at the main reception, which looked like a typical lodge with regular rooms and the usual setup. But we weren't staying there. We were told to leave our luggage behind in our car and only take a backpack or small bag with us. From there, things started to feel different. We set off down a long winding track, far from the main building in the hotel's own 4x4. The drive just kept going. As we moved deeper into the landscape, we started seeing more wildlife, more than we'd seen on our own so far. It felt like we were slowly being pulled away from everything else. And eventually, we arrived at our actual stay, tucked deep into the bush, only accessible by the hotel's own pickup. That's when it started to feel like something truly, truly special. Tonight, we are sleeping right here in one of those houses. I can't believe it either, and for now I'm just soaking it all in, but the houses have a secret feature in them. So, just arrived at the hotel. Come with me to the balcony where we're gonna sleep tonight. Oh! God! Look at this! I'm gonna sleep here tonight with this view. There's no one. And that's where we will be sleeping tonight, under the stars. But before settling in for the night, it was time for dinner. We made our way to the main cabin, where the evening began with welcome drinks and a few snacks. The timing couldn't have been better. The sun was just starting to set, casting warm golden light across everything. Wow. But for now, we are enjoying the sunset. Look at that behind me. That is a real sunset here in Namibia, and all the colors are so beautiful. The dining room was set up with care, elegant but not overdone. Just one other couple was there, which made the whole evening feel intimate and relaxed. Dinner came out in courses, starting with a comforting warm soup, followed by a delicious main and a dessert. Walking back to our hotel room was quite dark, especially knowing that we are quite isolated in our location. But the time has finally come. It was time to settle in for the night, and we started preparing our bed for it, which was still at its indoor spot. Tonight we will be sleeping on this cozy bed, but not here in this room, but rather outside. And that means we are gonna push this bed now to the balcony. It has so many thick blankets, so I'm hopeful we won't be cold. But if we are, we also got a hot water bottle and we have our sleeping bags as well. Let's push it! We are going to sleep on the balcony and see the stars. Oh, this is perfect. This is the best night of my life. It's so warm and cozy. Being under the stars with this emptiness around you. This is so unique. I cannot believe it. I'm gonna have the best sleep of my life. I was probably a bit too optimistic about actually sleeping out there because I spent most of the night just staring at the stars. It was so white and bright above me, it almost didn't feel real. And waking up with the warm sun rising above me was just as magical. With daylight slowly filling the landscape, we could finally take in where we actually were and where we slept. Just look at this place, with the beds being movable to the outdoor balcony space. I've definitely never seen something like that before. And the hotel is set up in complete isolation, nothing around us for miles. Just a handful of rooms, the main cabin and open space in every direction. One of our concerns before staying here was the wildlife, because we are out in the open and we wondered if animals might wander too close during the night. But luckily, or at least as far as I know, nothing and no one came near us. I'm very curious to know, would you want to stay in such a hotel? Would you be rather scared to sleep here at night and worried about potential animals coming by? Or would you see it as an adventure and you would be excited to sleep in such a special hotel? Let me know in the comments below. And now we have layered up a little bit more to enjoy the sunrise, which is literally the best sunrise I've seen in my life. How can it not be if I get to witness it from a bed like this? And it has all the colors, from the yellows to the oranges. Also, you get to see things like a tree with birds on it, and it's like the perfect Namibia postcard picture. And while I was still cozied up in bed with my jacket on to keep myself nice and warm, we got a special delivery straight to our door. And it was a hot container with coffee inside. Perfect to start the morning even better. And that is pre-breakfast, because breakfast is also gonna come soon. But first thing first, I need my coffee. Speaking about breakfast, we are almost late, so we are running back to the main cabin where a huge breakfast spread has been laid out for us. We tried to stretch out the pickup time for as long as we could, soaking in every last bit of the quiet and the view, but eventually it was time to move on. Although I was a little sad that we left, it didn't take long for the mood to lift. Just a short drive later, the scenery changed completely. Different colors, different shapes, a whole new kind of beauty. Namibia has a way of surprising you like that. At first, it might seem like driving from A to B in Namibia could be a waste of time. The distances are long and you often spend more hours in the car than at the actual site. But the drive itself is part of the experience. The landscapes are constantly changing. Open plains, rocky hills, desert stretches, and they keep you engaged the whole way. What makes it even more special is the feeling of total solitude. Most of the time, there are no other cars in sight. It feels like you have the whole country to yourself. And when you do see another car pass by, it almost feels surreal, like a rare event in an otherwise private world. So no, it's never just time spent getting from one place to another. It's part of what makes the journey so unforgettable. And honestly, with a very good playlist playing in the car, it feels even more fun. Let me know in the comments below whether you have any playlist suggestions for these type of long road trips. We are now driving to Walvis Bay, and the road is pretty much straight for 200 kilometers. So the scenery is very beautiful and you have to stay focused to the road because it's very easy to just get into this loop of looking into the distance and the beauty, but stay focused. It's time for lunch, and since we basically travel with our kitchen and our fridge with us, we can stop literally everywhere for a little picnic on the road. One of the points I wanted to visit in Walvis Bay was a lake where there are hundreds of flamingos. But I am here now and I cannot believe my eyes. I have never seen flamingos in the wild, and I have definitely never seen so many flamingos in one place. This is insane. It is so beautiful. It's such an elegant animal, how it is standing on one leg in the water. And as far as I know, they are balancing themselves on the wind, which means they never actually invest too much effort in standing in that position. And that pink color is coming from eating shrimp. That's their diet. That's not a bad diet to have, but honestly, it's just absolutely stunning to see them. Unfortunately, when you come close to them, they start going away. But I have found a different way to get really nice pictures of them. Just in time for sunset, we arrived at our stop for the night, Swakopmund. Unlike the remote places we'd stayed before, this is a proper town, so no wilderness tonight, just a more urban setting for a change. We will explore the town a little bit later, but for now, we headed straight out for dinner, pizza this time, and honestly, it hit the spot. After such a long drive, it was exactly what we needed. The rest of the evening was quiet and uneventful, just some rest before the next day's plan. The next morning, right after breakfast, we were off again, this time for something completely different. We were headed to Walvis Bay to go quad biking in the Dune. And I'm not talking about riding in circles on some tiny patch of sand. No, we went full on into the wild, deep into the dunes with our guide leading the way. And as for the quad itself, let's just say it was a bit more intense than I expected. The regular quad felt heavy and was hard to control for me. After struggling with it for a little while, I switched to a child-sized quad. Way easier to handle and honestly much more enjoyable for me. It turned out to be the right move. There's no shame about that, to swapping to an easier quad or to a child's quad. It's all about the ride itself, which has been so much fun. After a quick lunch and some time to relax, we jumped straight into our next activity. This time we were again joined by a guide. We had booked a tour with sandwich dune tours and safari, and our guide for the day was Andres. And honestly, he was one of those rare guides guides who truly leave a mark. I've done a lot of tours and met plenty of guides, but Andres really stood out. Knowledgeable, warm and clearly passionate about what he does. The tour took us to the Sandwich Harbour, one of Namibia's most iconic and hard-to-reach places, where towering dunes meet the crashing waves of the Atlantic. Getting there on your own is nearly impossible. You need permits from various government offices, and even then, the drive is tough. The route runs right along the beach, wedged between ocean and sand, and the risk of getting stuck is real. Booking with a tour company isn't just easier, it's the only safe way to go. The day included a variety of sights. First, a stop to see a group of flamingos. And just as I was watching them, I caught a dolphin jumping out of the water right behind them. From there, we continued to a pink salt lake near a salt factory and later into the dunes themselves, where Andres showed us how to track and spot some of the desert's smallest wildlife. Our next stop is a search for a gecko. So we stopped like in the middle of the dunes, right next to the coastline, and Andres is looking for a gecko in the sand, so I hope he can find one.
Oh, what we're looking for is this. There's a little animal inside.
It's deep.
It's actually better. It's called the palmato gecko. This is still a juvenile one. It's a male. You only find it in the Namib Desert. So it's one of the small 5 actually that you find here. Yes.
So we continue now to the next stop, probably the one I'm most looking forward to, which is the dunes and where the sand meets them, the Sandwich Harbour. And then the moment finally comes. We are heading into the heart of the dunes, the Sandwich Harbour. We are so close to the ocean that it's almost unreal, with steep sand walls towering beside us, some nearly 300 meters high. The contrast between the endless sand and the crashing waves is dramatic and surreal. Oh my God! Another highlight was driving straight down a massive steep dune in the 4x4. It honestly felt like dropping off a wall. After the adrenaline rush, we stopped for lunch right in the middle of the dunes, provided by the tour company, and somehow food just tastes better out here. We had a bit of free time afterwards to explore on our own, feel the sand and just take it in. Even a few steps in the soft dunes were enough to feel how tough it is to move around. No need to go far to feel the true majestic feeling that the dunes provide. We are about to go back, and sadly this moment has come. I wish we had more and more time here because it is really something special, and now is the time to take a moment to really soak it all up and put it into your memory so you can remember this moment forever, because it is really something special to just sit here, listen to the ocean and look on the dunes. Oh, a guy told us to jump out of the car. It's so cold.
Come in the water.
Oh my God.
It's a white mussel. This is actually a very small one. It's a white mussel. So it's a small one. The birds, they're eating it. So you see that bird? He's looking for one. You see that bird? One there is looking for one underneath the soil.
It's so cold!
Now come in, it's not cold.
Our final stop on the beach perfectly wrapped up the tour with Andres. Once we returned to the port and said our goodbyes, we drove back to Swakopmund and ended the day with a dinner at a German restaurant. Fried potatoes, cabbage and other local specialties filled the table, and the setting felt like we had suddenly landed in Bavaria. That's no coincidence. Namibia was once a German colony and the influence is still strong. You see it in the food, the buildings, the restaurant names, even in the language. And of course, the history is everywhere around us. The next morning, after a quick grocery run, we set off to explore Swakopmund a bit on foot. Walking through the town felt oddly familiar, like a small village in Germany. Street names, signs and buildings and the architecture all reflected the German heritage. The sightseeing didn't last long though. We had to hit the road again for our next destination. But first, we will explore the town. Swakopmund is known to be kind of the action capital of Namibia. That is because a lot of tours start from here. For example, for the Sandwich Harbour or cruises, etc. More specifically, they don't start particularly from Swakopmund, but from Walvis Bay, which is half an hour ride from Swakopmund. But because Swakopmund is a bit more touristic and has more shops and hotels, it's probably easier to stay here and you are kind of in the center and 30 minutes away from Walvis Bay. Also kind of makes you feel as if you're in a time capsule. It's something between a German town, a little remote village in the US, and Namibia combined in a city. It's very, very unique and it's just fun to walk through here, even if you have no itinerary in particular, and just observe the architecture and the culture happening around you. We have arrived at our next stop, which is the... Okay, the smell got too strong. Second try. We have arrived at our next stop, which is the Seal Reserve in Cape Cross. And oh my lord, the smell... Be ready to bring something with you, a mask, a scarf. Wow! Cape Cross is one of those places that catches you a bit off guard, in the best way. It's located along Namibia's skeleton coast and is famously home to one of the largest Cape fur seal colonies in the world. Depending on the season, there can be up to 100,000 seals gathered along the stretch of coastline. The moment you step out of the car, the first thing you notice is the sound, loud, constant and echoing across the wind. And then the smell hits. Let's just say it's not subtle at all. But once you get past that, the sight is incredible. Seals are everywhere, sprawled across the rocks, barking, playing, resting or diving into the waves. Sometimes you might even see baby seals. The coastline here feels wild and raw, with crashing waves and thousands upon thousands of seals stretched across the rocks. And if you look on this coastline from a distance, the seals just look like they are one with the rocks. It actually looks like part of the rock, while all of this darkness here that we can see are seals. Sadly, the seals are not just seen as a benefit for the country or the tourism in this part of Namibia. So many seals need to eat a lot of fish, which leads to overfishing of the area. As a result, sadly not all the seals make it through life alive. Seeing the seals was really fun and we couldn't really stop watching them, but now it's time to continue to our next destination. Through the edit, I can make it look like we just fly to our next spot immediately. In reality, it took us a couple of fun driving hours, but we are here. We have arrived at our next destination, which is Spitzkoppe. And the way it went is that we checked in at reception, we got a map, and on the map you can see lots of numbers. Then you understand how huge this area is. And I think we should have done a little bit more research to understand which number is the best to stay at. But we asked at the reception and they said number 10, 11 is very popular with tourists because you have a very nice sunset from here. So this is where we went. And when you drive alongside the area, you will see little signs with the numbers, so you know exactly where you are. Also, there are kind of these dry toilets on the campsites. If you want the wet ones and if you want showers or restaurants, that is in the main reception area. However, depending on where you stay, that can be a good drive away. I guess now would be a good time to say what we are planning to do in Spitzkoppe. Spitzkoppe is not only beautiful for the spots you can see here, the hikes you can do, or the UNESCO World Heritage Site nearby, but it's also supposed to have the best campsite in Namibia, and of course we are not going to miss out on that. So this thing on the top of the car is a tent, and that's where we're going to sleep tonight. As the sun starts to set, we begin getting everything ready for the night. We open up the rooftop tent, unfold our chairs and get the little stuff going for dinner. It's all still pretty new to us, so we are figuring things out as we go, one step at a time. But there is something really satisfying about setting up camp in places like this, surrounded by nature and silence. Let's try to add to our bed for the night the pillows and our sleeping bags, and inside we already have some blankets and a mattress, but I'm gonna show you in a second. This is our tent from inside. We have lots of space here. We got equipment from the renting company, like a blanket and some pillows, but we did bring our own sleeping bags just in case it gets a little bit colder. We have some bags over there on the top to store some small things, and otherwise a mosquito net and the view. Let me show you the campsite as it is now set up for us for the night. We have our tent on the roof all set up and ready to go for sleeping. This is our kitchen station. So here we have cutlery, we have gas happening as well, so we can cook something here. A beautiful view for dinner with a table and 2 chairs. And then we started a fire. Now that it's dark, we can enjoy the fireplace, the cooking, boiling the water for some pasta, and I took out this headlamp to have a little bit more light, so everything looks way more like a spaceship now. I think the pasta is basically ready. And we are having pasta with bought tomato sauce. We have chicken that we made on the grill and a little salad. I wouldn't say it's too bad for a campsite.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
There's only one last thing left to do, that's brush our teeth and then sit next to the fireplace to warm up for the night. We climbed up to the tent now, ready to go to bed, and it's actually so cozy here. We have a lot of padding, plus the pillows and our sleeping bags, and there's actually a lot of room for 2 people to be totally comfortable here. So with that, good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. We just woke up, opened the tent and saw this beautiful view in front of us of the mountain rocks and the Spitzkoppe area being hit by the sunrise. It's so beautiful. And we were really, really hot at night. We had all this preparation in terms of sleeping bags and hot water bottles and blankets. But actually we were sweating because the tent itself also keeps in a lot of heat. So definitely cold wasn't an issue. But unfortunately the wind was an issue. We kept waking up during the night because of these noises that the tent makes. And it's okay. It's totally worth it nevertheless. And also I was very excited to sleep here. So my sleepless night was also partially because of that. I'm still very, very happy. And waking up with this view makes it all worth it. Quick bathroom tour. This is the dry toilet. There's nothing. It's just a box. It's very clean actually. I was thinking there's gonna be way more of a smell, but there is nothing. And then we have a dry toilet over here. Dry toilet means there's no flushing, no water, you just do your business and off you go. Still waking up. The sun is definitely helping in that. But now it's really, really time for coffee. This is our surrounding area. That is in a totally different light now in the morning than it was yesterday evening. We have beauty all around us, like 360. There's not a spot where you can go wrong to camp for the night. And we also have neighbors in very close distance, which is something we wanted because staying in such a place for the first time, you're kind of not sure, are there going to be people? How safe is it? So we're very happy that some people decided to park next to us, and it felt very more of a communal security package. Okay, time to find some stuff that I need for the day. What should I wear? Breakfast is getting ready. We are having coffee, of course, and scrambled eggs and a few other things.
Breakfast felt very healthy and it definitely kept us full for a good while. This was also needed because now it's time to walk around Spitzkoppe and explore the area further. I also love how we literally had a first row perspective on the nature around us. Of course, you have to go on a little hike or at least a little walk around Spitzkoppe. If you don't feel comfortable or if you want to walk in a specific direction, there are actually guides on specific points that can take you and can show you the nice spots. But what I noticed already is that the trees here are very, very special. Looks like a completely ordinary tree, but the stems are so sharp when you touch it. It looks like a normal wood and like a normal tree, but don't come close to them. They are so sharp. One of the more popular walking sites and potentially a very popular picture spot is a specific arch where you have to climb on a rock. Everything is quite doable. If I can do it, you can do it. The view from the top is truly amazing. On the one side, you look straight to Spitzkoppe while you are sitting in the arch, and on the other side, you're looking into the nature and the wilderness of it all. Before leaving Spitzkoppe, we also went on a hike with a guide and we entered a specific area where we could see these types of paintings on the rocks. They have been there for quite some time, and truly standing in front of art like that and seeing it with your own eyes, it feels like a history book that came to life. Spitzkoppe is also meant to be a self-serving location where you camp and you provide food to yourself, but there is a little coffee house as well on grounds with prices that are a little bit high, but food is available. Our next stop was a visit to the San people, one of the oldest continuous cultures in the world, and this stop was not too far away at all. In Namibia, the San have lived for thousands of years as hunter-gatherers, deeply connected to the land and the rhythms of nature. Today, some communities still share the traditions with visitors through storytelling, fire making, and demonstrations. It's not a show per se, but a chance to glimpse in a way of life that has endured through time, shaped by knowledge passed down for generations. When we visited the San, we were welcomed really warmly. We were told that the San do not live in this location all year round, but they relocate and move to this place exactly for the purpose of educating visitors that are interested to learn more about the San people.
Hi.
One of the most fascinating parts of the visit was hearing the San's click language in action. The language uses a series of distinct click sounds which are part of their everyday speech. It's completely natural to them, but incredibly unique to listen to. As they showed us how they make fire using traditional methods, they spoke to each other in this click-filled rhythm. We couldn't understand the words, but we could feel the connection and the ease with which they worked together. This was such an interesting encounter, especially since we were lucky enough also to meet the rest of the group, including the children. However, there is so much more to learn about it, and especially since we also met a couple of other local groups, so I don't want to squeeze it into this main Namibia video, and there will be another video focusing just on the local and indigenous groups of Namibia. I can't wait to share more of this with you. Oh, wow! We were out on the road again, racing to reach our next destination before sunset as usual, this time Madisa campsite. And once again, it turned out to be an incredible spot. To be honest, we hadn't pre-booked anything for this night. Since this was our first camping trip in Namibia, we wanted to stay flexible, just in case. But after our experience at Spitzkoppe, we were completely sold. So we looked for a spot along the way, and Madisa ended up being the perfect fit. The good thing about road tripping in Namibia is that there are a lot of campsites scattered across the country. It's rare to be stuck without a place to stay, as long as you have a general idea of where you're heading and make sure you are in an area with options. When we arrived at Madisa, we were blown away. This wasn't just a place to park and sleep, it felt like its own little world. We had our own private site surrounded by nature, completed with a tree house, a fireplace, and a setup that felt more like a wilderness lodge than a campsite. It quickly became a home for the night, and one we hadn't expected at all. Let me quickly show you around. First of all, we already have our tent set up. It took us significantly less time because it's already our second time setting it up. And the cooking station is already there, ready to go. But the campsite itself looks like this. We have a fire station which is heating the water with which we can shower. And shower are we gonna do? Up there in the treehouse. And otherwise we have a little sun booth over here. So in the morning there will be a nice shade. For now we have set up our table here. And we are gonna be warming up the fire for the water. And otherwise there's also electricity here, which is another big plus. But honestly, the best part, let me quickly show you on the top. First of all, it is open roofed. This is our toilet. And otherwise, the shower is over here. Wow, looks really cool. I always wanted to shower under the roof, under the sky. Our campsite actually has really nice kitchen facilities, so we have this whole area for cooking. We also got running water, and that makes it so much easier. However, we are almost out of food, so we are having for dinner a weird combination of pasta with feta, and then as a salad we have cucumber, corn, and cucumber, corn, lemon. That's it. During dinner, we were nice and cozy, warming up for the night since we were seated right next to the fireplace. And afterwards, I headed up to our treehouse to have a look on everything around me, and it honestly felt like a big, big dream to stay here. We woke up quite early just because we have a long drive ahead of us and we want to leave a little bit of buffer time. We started with coffee and some boiled eggs, and honestly, we slept like babies. We could barely hear any sound, no wind at all. The night was so relaxing. But when we saw where we actually slept tonight, which kind of looked like a mini Spitzkoppe, but definitely like another planet, it was even more amazing. By the way, have you subscribed already to my channel? It would mean the world to me and it is the biggest form of support. Also, you will not miss out on any further videos if you are subscribed to my channel. After having visited the Sun people, I also headed to a cultural site dedicated to the Damara people, specifically the Damara Living Museum. This visit was quite different though. Right from the entrance, it felt more like a touristic experience with clearly marked gates, set paths and staged demonstrations. The Damara people no longer live this way in daily life. What you see here is a recreation of how things used to be, preserved as part of cultural education. And while the site is still informative and offers a look into Damara history, it definitely felt less authentic compared to the Sun visit. Still, it's a way for traditions, language and heritage to be shared with visitors, especially as much of it risks to be forgotten. Even though it's no longer a living way of life, it's a glimpse into a culture that once shaped this region deeply.
And here are the clicks that we use when we talk in the language. One stripe, we pronounce, and the exclamation mark it's.
But again, we were quite lucky to witness how the Damara people were performing a dancing and singing ceremony. It sounds so nice! Just driving to Oppuwo and we saw some cars stopping, so we thought there's some kind of checkpoint, but a giraffe was crossing the road and now we see them over there and there's actually a full-on giraffe family. That's insane. We are not even in Etosha or any specific spot, it's just in the middle of the road. I don't know if there can be a better representation of the spontaneous encounters with animals we had in Namibia, but this is probably the highlight of the spontaneous encounters. Still on the way to Oppuwo, we are 6 hours in now of driving, and the more north you go, the more authentic your experience gets. There are lots of villages on the roads and we saw a lot of animals just roaming around freely. Goats, cows, giraffes. Unfortunately, that's it. We're really hoping to see an elephant. But the roads are way less maintained the more north you go. I guess it's not as touristic, so it makes sense. And we haven't seen a car for like 4 hours. The town of Oppuwo is definitely off the beaten path in Namibia. This place is not part of the common touristic route, which is exactly why I wanted to go. Also, there is another special thing that you can only see there, and I definitely had to get there. While almost everything we've done so far in Namibia already felt new and different, heading north towards Oppuwo offered something else entirely. A deeper look into parts of the country most travelers skip. Going off the beaten path gives you a different kind of insight, showing you more of what lies beyond the horizon, and this is important to me. Eventually, we made it to our hotel just in time, ready for the next special part of the journey. Waking up with the sunrise definitely has its benefits. This morning, we had an early start to meet our guide, someone who would take us to visit a Himba community. In Namibia, there are several places where you can visit Himba people, but many of them are staged settings built for tourists. After the previous experience, it was important to me that this was authentic, not something to put on for a show. To truly meet the Himba in a more genuine context, you have to go further north, to Oppuwo and even beyond. The Himba are semi-nomadic and they don't live in one fixed location that you can just search for on a map. The only real way to find them is with the help of a local guide who knows the region and has relationships with the communities. And after a longer drive, we finally reached our destination. This is as authentic as it gets. The village was totally difficult to get to. It was 60 kilometers drive from Oppuwo, and then we went kind of off-road a bit to find them. Now our guide is asking for permission for us to visit this village, and we also brought some gifts for them as a token of appreciation. After a short conversation between our guide and the local leader, we were given permission to enter the village and spend time with the people living there. It felt like a real privilege, being welcomed into a space that isn't set up for show, but is part of everyday life. The Himba people are one of Namibia's best-known indigenous groups, and what makes them so unique is their deep connection to tradition. They are semi-nomadic pastoralists, primarily raising cattle and goats, and have managed to maintain their customs, dress, and way of life despite the pressures of modern society. One of the most striking things you will notice is their appearance. Himba women cover their skin and hair with a paste made from butterfat and a red ochre. It gives their skin its natural deep red tone, which is both beautiful and symbolic. It represents earth, blood, and life. Their hairstyle and jewelry also carry deep cultural meaning, often indicating age, marital status, and social role. A special aspect about the Himba people is also that they do not shower, but maintain hygiene in different ways.
They say they are very happy because you are proud and you sit and
Of course!
things. You don't worry about the okras.
Also here, we will get to know the Himba better in my next video, because there is so much more to know.
Are you my favorite? You are my favorite. Don't tell anyone. Okay? Don't tell anyone that you're my favorite.
Our journey through the north continued as we made our way back towards Oppuwo, with a stop to visit another cultural group, the Herero people. Before heading to the village, we stopped at a local supermarket to pick up a few small supplies, as a token of appreciation for being welcomed into their community. The Herero are traditionally cattle herders and are known for their strong sense of identity and history. What stands out most visually is the traditional dress worn by Herero women, colorful, voluminous Victorian-style gowns with horn-shaped headpieces. The style dates back to the German colonial period and has since become a proud symbol of their culture and resilience. As we arrived in the village, we were warmly welcomed. The women, dressed in their bright and elegant attire, greeted us with smiles and open arms. We were invited to see a bit of daily life and introduced to the children, who were full of energy and curiosity. It didn't take long before we were laughing and playing with them, sharing simple moments that felt meaningful. And you moved. Oh, you know it! Shoulders, knees and toes. Eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. It's so amazing. I'm so happy. I cannot start smiling. These kids just make you so happy. Like, look how happy they are. And you just get happy. After spending some time in the village and learning more of the way of life, it was time to head back to our accommodation in Oppuwo. We arrived just in time for sunset, catching the last golden light from our balcony, followed by a quiet dinner to end the day. It is morning again and we are out early, this time heading in one clear direction. Today we are finally reaching Etosha, one of Namibia's most iconic and well-known destinations. And hopefully see lots and lots of animals. We entered through the west gate, which is called the Galton Gate, and paid $150 per person for the entry, as well as $50 for the car for the day permit. Also, if you have a drone, you are asked about that, and the drone is sealed by the Namibian police until you exit the park again. And also at this point, you can buy a map of Etosha, which is very helpful. That was just $150, and it shows you exactly which roads you can take, where the waterholes are, but also, which is quite helpful, it has a whole list of all the animals you can spot here in the park. And it makes it a little bit like a game where you can exactly know what to look for, but also how it's called. Etosha National Park is one of the oldest and largest national parks in Africa, covering over 22,000 square kilometers. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 3 million football fields, a truly massive stretch of protected land. The name Etosha means Great White Place, referring to the vast Etosha Pen, a giant salt flat visible from space. The park is home to elephants, lions, rhinos, giraffes, zebras and countless antelope species, as well as over 300 types of birds. What makes Etosha special is that you don't need a guide or safari vehicle to explore it. You can self-drive, stopping at waterholes to watch wildlife gather, all from the comfort of your own car. Wow, we found the first watering hole and there are lots of animals there drinking from the water. It's zebras and springboks, and then lots of other animals. We have now stopped at Olifantus, which is one of the campsites located right in the middle of Etosha. So this is one of the spots where you can actually see the animals after the park closes after sunset. And the campsite itself is okay, but you have the perk of seeing the animals after everyone has already left. The observation platform at Olifantus is so much better than what I had imagined. First of all, you get these little desks around here where you can find your perfect spot and sit on. There are even some sockets to charge your devices. And the watering hole is literally below the observation desk, which means if animals come up, it's like 2 meters away from you while you're up and there's no danger. I think if you manage to find a spot in Olifantus, which books out fast and there are only a couple of camping spots, then you will be really, really lucky because you are literally a fence away from all the animals in Etosha and nobody else is here at this time when you are. So that is a pretty unique experience. Oh my God, we found the king of the jungle, a lion family, and 2 baby lions.
3.
3 baby lions. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. They are so cute and they literally couldn't care less about us. They hide under the shadow of the tree and the babies are just so adorable. Oh my God! absolutely look majestic and blend with their surroundings, so it's really difficult to spot them. But where would you go at 3 p.m. when the sun is super strong? Probably hide under some shadow, and that's exactly where we found this family. And I think that is a really good trick to think about the timing of the day and where the animals would be at this time. We have found a massive waterhole with all the animals: elephant, giraffe, rhino, springbok, zebra, all of them. This is insane. Like, this is the image that you see when you think of safari, all the animals in one spot, and I cannot believe my eyes. The elephant is huge, like the African elephant is way bigger than the Asian one that I've seen before. Like, this look right here, that's insane. It really seems like you can spot all the animals very easily. I've heard that it might not be easy and there might be some days where we don't see anything, but today is day 1 and we saw all of the animals already. I mean, apart from birds, but all the main animals that we wanted to see, like giraffe, elephant, lion, springbok, rhino, all of them done. I'm so happy. There is literally an elephant family coming our way. We saw them in like distance away. We thought, let's just wait, they're gonna come to the waterhole. It's 5 elephants. We are ready to drive away if we have to, but I hope we can get them really, really close by. It is the second day of exploring Etosha, and after paying the ticket for the day, we are off to explore. Today we are seeing all the animals again, but we already know what to expect and are way more comfortable with driving around Etosha. Just to put things into perspective, that's me kind of leaning right now out of the car window for this view. There are 20 elephants, if not more, at the waterhole, and we can't get closer because they start making angry noises. So we leave them in peace and we observe them from a safe distance. But it's insane. There are even like 5-6 baby elephants, and they are super cute because they just like play around. And look at that, so many elephants. One important aspect to point out is that it is best to practice a little bit the reverse skills before coming to Etosha, because sometimes in situations like this, when these huge elephants start walking your way, you better control that car really well and know how to get out of the situation fast. Ultimately, this is their space and their home. We are just guests driving around there. We found another rhino. Such a lucky day. 2 rhinos in a day. And I think it's the black rhino. The Etosha Park opens and closes according to sunrise and sunset. And every day on the gate where you enter, the employees would change a clock to show you exactly the time you would need to exit. And that is on the minute precise. Today, for example, it's 6:27. We are a little bit on the edge, but still making it. And we're not going to test what would happen if you are late. We made it out on time. The next morning, we arrived at a new hotel, and the moment we stepped into our room, it felt like something out of a picture book. Windows in every direction with sweeping views of the landscape all around us. Just imagine waking up here with animals just casually walking next to your window. Etosha had been incredible, but there was one animal we hadn't managed to see, the leopard. While Etosha is home to many species, leopards are notoriously elusive there. That's why we decided to change things up and head to Okonjima Nature Reserve. Unlike Etosha, Okonjima is a private reserve, known especially for its work in wildlife conservation, particularly with big cats. The reserve spans a vast area and is home to the Africat Foundation, which focuses on research and rehabilitation of predators like leopards, cheetahs, and others. We joined a guided safari, something a bit more traditional and structured compared to our self-drive experiences through Etosha. Our guide had a special tracking device that receives signals from the collared leopards within the reserve. The leopards are not tame. They live wild, but are occasionally monitored for research and protection. Guides also stay in radio contact with each other to share sightings across the reserve. We drove through this beautiful, rugged landscape, scanning the trees and bushes, and after a while it happened. We spotted a leopard right in front of us. It moved with that unmistakable grace, silent, powerful, and completely unfazed by our presence. Even more amazing, we saw it more than once. At one point, it walked right down the road in front of us, then went off alongside the vehicle, blending almost completely into the bush. It was the kind of moment that makes you hold your breath, especially because you're a little bit scared as well. As the sun began to set, our guide pulled out sundowners and we watched the sky change color from the comfort of the vehicle. It was calm, quiet, although a little bit cold, and the perfect end to the day we won't forget. Back at the lodge, a warm bowl of soup and other things that we had for dinner by the fire was waiting, exactly what we needed after such an unforgettable day on safari. Good morning! We woke up today with an insane view from our bed window of animals running in front of us and us having like this view of the wind moving around. It was very, very beautiful. The night itself was quite cold, but we had good thick blankets as well as our hot water bottles. And now we are having breakfast, and the breakfast is really compact here and super cute. You have this beautiful setup of all the options and the bread. Look at that bun. It's homemade, fresh and warm, and it's perfect. Also, we have a few fireplaces going, but it's still pretty cold here. Our time at the reserve has been short, but sweet and definitely memorable. Lucky for us, we got a little animal goodbye just before we were about to head off and check out from our room. The last 2 hours of our time in Namibia, we are spending in Windhoek because that's where we're gonna return the car and then fly back from. And this is a perfect amount of time to quickly drive around the city and see the main landmarks. Unfortunately, not to explore them deeper, but at least get a little feel for the city. Windhoek has a few really beautiful architectural pieces in the city which are filled with history. There is equally a museum you can visit, and that museum has an observation platform from where you have this beautiful view all over Windhoek. After thousands of kilometers on gravel roads, endless horizons and moments that felt almost unreal, one thing is clear. Namibia isn't just a trip you take. It's a journey that lingers long after the dust has settled. The kind that changes the way you see the world. Truly. If you've enjoyed coming along on this journey, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more journeys like this one, because there are many more stories to tell. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.